Thank you for joining me today. My name is Jerrel. I develop video games for a living. Today I wanted to take a look at some details that we saw in the recent Nintendo Switch 2 reveal trailer that were easily missed. We'll be taking a look at the website as well. So just for context here, I have developed and shipped numerous titles across the 3DS, Wii U, and Switch, so I'm quite familiar with both the hardware and the software in terms of development for these consoles, but I do not have access, nor do I have any insider knowledge of the Nintendo Switch 2. I do not have a Switch 2 dev kit, and I have not applied to acquire one for my studio, as I'm still wrapping up some projects for the Switch. So I will be approaching this very much as a gamer and as a fan of this kind of stuff, and it's exciting for us to explore this new console generation and to speculate. It's fun. It's it's part of how we enjoy the whole everything about gaming. So there are some things that we'll take a look at here. First, we'll take a look at the trailer here, and I'll pause it. And in the trailer here, you notice there is something here. Now, from this particular angle, it looks quite like an oval. And that's because the console is at an angle here, but also this is a 3D render, which means that this may not actually be totally accurate. But we know this is not a screw hole because we have seen screw holes. It is not a button that you can depress because it is inset into the console itself. We see what buttons look like. This is the power button. These are the volume buttons. We'll move forward in the trailer here. And you can see we get a good look at this. For me personally, as a gamer and as a developer especially, I would really like for this to be a camera so that games can use a camera to take pictures of things. After we take a look at these things, I would like to share with you my idea as a developer on how I would want to use these in upcoming games. Now, I will show you what most likely it could be if we go based on this render here. This is very likely an infrared blaster. Now, an infrared blaster is basically what you have on your TV remote. It allows you to use very simple technology, use infrared light to send a signal, to control electronic devices. I will show you my mobile device here. It has an infrared blaster there. I can use an app to simulate remotes for various devices, whether that be a Blu-ray player, air conditioning unit, or a television. So this is my Android phone that has an infrared blaster, and you can see what that looks like there, and I'll just allow my camera to zoom in on that so you can get a closer look. So that is what it looks like to have an IR blaster on your device. It looks very similar to what we see on this render of the Switch 2. So one thing to note about the IR blaster is it's really not that useful. Mostly I ever only use this for when I go to the pub, and if there's something on TV that isn't very good, I can change the channel and nobody knows that it's me changing the channel at the pub. So if we now take a look at the Nintendo website, let's go ahead and have a look here. We'll scroll down and we'll go past this and we'll come back to that. We'll double back to that. But on the render here, you get a better look at it and it's a bit more clear. You can see that it does appear to be a perfect circle. Again, we know what a screw hole looks like because here we see that that is a screw hole. And I'm holding out hope as a developer that when the Nintendo Direct for the Switch 2 is presented to us, that this is revealed to be a camera. That would be very exciting. That means that there would be an emphasis on games that require the player to take the Switch outside, to walk around, to explore, and to use the camera in some way. I think that would be very exciting. Let's go ahead and scroll up a bit on the Nintendo website, and you can see what we have here is a microphone slot. This is next to the game card here, and it's pretty clear what this is. We've seen microphone slots built in on other Nintendo consoles. Here on the Wii U gamepad, you could see the microphone hole just there. On the Nintendo 3DS, this is the new XL model. You can see the microphone hole just there. The presence of a microphone raises some very important questions. We need to consider the application and accessibility of the microphone. Let's say that games are designed to use the microphone that is built into the Switch hardware. What happens when the player is using the Switch 2 in the docked mode, where the Switch 2 is far from the player, close to the TV, and probably close to the speakers where sound is coming out of the TV? Let's say the player is using the Joy-Cons to play the game, and the Joy-Cons do not appear to have speakers built in. What happens in that case when the player needs to use the microphone functionality? All of these microphones that we have seen in previous Nintendo consoles have been short-range microphones, and the player needs to be pretty close to that microphone. What we see on the Switch 2 does not appear to be the kind of long-range microphone that would be appropriate if the player were sitting far from the dock. We also need to consider that noise would be coming from the speakers. There would need to be significant noise cancellation. And so that raises an important question. What happens when the player is not close to the microphone? Will we have Pro controllers that have microphone functionality built in? Then that also means that players will need to own a Pro microphone, a Pro controller, if they wish to use the microphone functionality in docked mode. So that is something to consider in this situation. Now, I would like to personally share with you my ideas on how I would like to use these functionalities if these were a camera and a microphone. So as a developer, I've been working on a monster battling game where you collect monsters, you raise them with different training activities, and then you can battle against friends or a computer AI. Something that excites me as a gamer is when monster breeding and monster raising games have an interesting way to obtain the monsters. For something that I've been working on for a few years, but I haven't had the opportunity and the time to work on that as I'm working on other IP at the moment. If we can use the camera, if this is a camera and we can use that, what I would really like to use that for is to take pictures of your environments and to generate a monster based on the environments. Of course, that would be preset species, but it would be the kind of monster raising and battling game where you can breed the monsters together, you can crossbreed, and they can have traits both visually and in terms of their skills and abilities. And I think that would be very exciting if you can explore, wander around, go hiking with your Switch, go for a walk in the park, and take pictures of the environment. And based on the colors and the luminance of the picture that you take, that's how you generate new monsters. If it also uses the microphone, I would really like to be able to use that as part of the monster generating process as well. It could capture ambient sound, and that is calculated into the stats and the species and the special traits that your monsters would have. I think it would just be very fun. There are also numerous ideas you can implement for horror games. We could potentially see the return of augmented reality, AR. I've been working on some things behind the scenes where you hang up, small posters, when a 10 by 10, which would be an AR card, you hang that up on your wall and it generates an environment, and you basically have your device. And let's say that you have a window and there's creatures that are trying to come in through the window and you have to interact with that, but you have multiple AR posters that you put up around your house. So you need to go to different places in your house. Let's say you need your item box. Well, you put your AR poster on the wall for an item box, and then you have your window, and the window is where all the threats come from. So you have to manage your resources, and you physically have to move around, and it would be the camera in that allows you to interact and have that augmented reality experience. You could potentially have use of the microphone, or say, for example, there are monsters that react to sound. So if you scream, if you get startled, it will alert the monsters to your location. On the last Wii U title, that I developed and shipped, which ended up being the very last Wii U title to launch, would be Silver Falls White Inside Its Umbra. The gamepad is treated like a smart device, and you can receive text messages in-game from the smart device, but there are certain monsters in the environment that if you are within range, if you receive a text message, the monsters can hear you. So what you actually have to do is turn down the physical volume slider on your gamepad, and that actually turns down the volume of your smart device in-game. So if you turn down the volume, you got a text message, the monsters around you would not hear it. That's the kind of interesting application we can implement in our games if this really is a microphone and camera. I'm fairly confident that would be a camera, or that would be a microphone, as that is what we see in other Nintendo hardware. And I'm just hoping that that little hole that we've seen there, I'm just hoping that this is indeed a camera, because there are so many creative things that we can do as developers, and I would really love to see a push to get people outside exploring and having fun using the camera in different ways. I think that is what would differentiate this from the first Switch, which didn't really have a way for players to interact with their environments. This is something that would certainly bring a huge amount of creativity to the Switch 2. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm very much looking forward to hearing more from Nintendo. Again, I don't have any insider knowledge, so I'm not leaking any information. I'm approaching this as a gamer, as a developer, and as someone who just loves the gaming industry and just loves gaming in general. So take care, everyone. Be well. I'll see you later.